Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our free webinar. There's more to life than thinking about yourself. Dr. Mark Howard and I just love sharing this subject and this topic with you. And we've had, it's become quite popular because we've had many people impacted
Mm.
by really getting beyond thinking about themselves. And so on today's webinar, we'd love to give you a taste of that topic and to share with you what we're seeing in this area, as well as give you the opportunity if there's something on your mind, if there's something holding you back, or there's an area that you're just finding yourself struggling in a bit. We're both here and here to help. It's what we love to do. So in a little bit, we'll open it up to you too. And it would be lovely to hear from you, because the more interactive this is, the more we can get from it. And towards the end, we'll share with you the opportunity to join us for a deeper exploration. So you'll just know in your heart if this resonates with you, and you'll be glad to know if it does. There's an opportunity to dive deeper with myself and Dr. Mark coming up in February. So I don't know, where do you want to start, Dr. Mark? What's feeling fresh?
Um, Grace, just wonderful to be back and see everyone and see some people that I've known for quite some years. Um, well, Grace, I did a teleseminar yesterday where I shared a quote from Sid that was really blunt, really direct. And, I'm just reflecting today that, we have to believe that we have to get, I guess, blunt with ourselves and believe there's more to us than we can imagine in terms of creativity, love and understanding, finding a purpose. Uh, um, then we can, and the only thing in the way, I mean, we really have to just believe it's true that the only thing in the way is how we think about ourselves. Evaluating ourselves, all our shoulds, ought tos, expectations. But, as blunt as he was and direct, I think that's what's been sitting with me since I presented that yesterday. And, I bring it to us that we really have to get determined to really open up to the fact that we are this, what Sydney Banks would call this spiritual energy that has a wisdom to it. The intelligence of the universe is what we are. We've got that going for us. And me too, I've settled for something way less than that, which is my own thinking about myself, my own ideas about uh, whatever it could be, around um, uh, continuing to evaluate myself. And I think once we step into opening up to the beauty that can really be expressed and lived in really most of the day, um, I mean, that's the ultimate. That's how we're meant to be. Once we take a step in that direction and really what do they say? They say not confirm it, but commit to that. That's what they say, commit to that. But just to open up that we are more than we could ever imagine us ourselves to be in a direction of creativity, positivity, not in terms of anything being wrong with us. That's just superficial. Um, So I just love that we've come together, you and I, that we can offer a platform where all of us can explore that and discover more of this truth. And how you and I just came together and found this beautiful way of letting people know that there's more to you than thinking about yourself. There's more to life, actually. So that was coming to me, uh, just the directness of that, just um, finally believing it, because you'll never figure out. I mean, you're never intellectually going to figure out um, that you are this beautiful being, this spiritual energy that is can create beauty through you, your way, however it is that you do that, in creating a family, creating a partnership with a loved one, creating art, becoming creating a way to share in a health professional way. There's so many ways that this beauty that you are can become who your purpose is. And so, Grace, that's kind of what's fresh for me,
Yeah.
and helping people, get out of self-doubt. Uh, I know you've emailed me and we've talked about how people hold themselves back from a creative idea because they get a bit insecure about, they think ahead. I know I'm talking a lot here, but something else came to me that's fresh, Grace, and then I'll just check in with you and everybody. But we think ahead, once we get a creative idea or just a wish, uh, um, that's unknown. What will happen to that is unknown. We fill it up with our insecurities. Oh, that would be asking too much of me. Oh, what will people think of me? Oh, I don't know how to go about doing that. Uh, I remember this is such a powerful story that my dream has always been to bring the understanding of Sydney Banks' teachings to humanity, to help humanity. And I got a call out of the blue from Jamie Smart about 10 years ago now. And he asked me if I could come over for a year, different times through the year to help train these new group of people he had who he's introducing to the principles, three principles. And I hem and hawed when I heard that. I wanted to, and then my gut came in with, oh man, I never been traveling into internationally. I don't know. Well, how much can I come up with a year-long program? And I said, well, let me get time to think about it, which is my usual delaying tactic. And then I leave my office, which is in my home, and my wife is putting things in the closet. And I said, this guy, Jamie Smart, asked me to come over and do a training program, but I don't really think, I don't really know that I want to do traveling, be away from you. And she turned to me and she just said, well, isn't that what you dreamed of? And that hit me. That hit me. That's true. That's what was guiding me, you see. And in my human condition, I was overriding this dream to help people, to help humanity, really, to share this with the world. So, just an example of from yesterday, really saying enough of that. It comes up. It comes up. It's habits, but we finally have to say enough of that. Let's get down to my true nature and how I want to express these beautiful feelings in me.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so Grace, I didn't know this was fresh for me when you asked me, but um, that's what I want for people. That's what I want for people here in our webinar and what you and I share together in our endeavors.
Yeah. Well, I just want to pick up on that, that overriding of what we know. I think that's innocently one of the ways we truly can get stuck or hold ourselves back is that, that habit of thought that you described, Mark. Here you are knowing that you wanted to travel and and be of service in an international way. And then that habit of thought of overriding what you know. And I was talking with some clients earlier, you know, and it was kind of a similar situation, you know, individuals just hearing their guidance, their clear guidance, their knowing, and then arguing with their wisdom or arguing with their knowing. And and it's just one of those habits of thought, me too, that we have picked up and learned to get in our way.
Mm.
Part of our sharing this, friends, is that we would see beyond these habits of thought, that we wouldn't just discuss habits of thought, but that we would
Yeah.
touch the space beyond these habits of thought that would allow for real change. In my own life personally, when I met Mark, I was a self-conscious mess. In 2016, we met each other in Los Angeles, and my experience of life at that time was very caught up in everything needing to be perfect. Now, granted, I still like things to look a certain way or be done a certain way, but this was paralyzing at the time. And my experience was to just innocently, not knowing it, but to be living in habits of thought that were flavored with criticism and flavored with doubt, which no one could have really seen from the outside because I was running a very successful coaching business, traveling the world. And, you know, it didn't really make sense that I would be experiencing such a level of self-consciousness. But it was in the exploring of this understanding that Sydney Banks has brought to the world. It was in the exploring of this that I began to get a little bit of space from the voice in my head. Many of you may have heard me refer to this voice as Bob the drunk. So if you can imagine, on every street corner in every big city, there's some poor drunk guy sitting there or lying there shouting obscenities. And you might walk past him and you might give him $1 or £1 or €1, but you definitely wouldn't go to him for advice. And yet we have Bob in our head. And it was a colleague of mine that shared this with me many years ago. We have Bob in our head and we do go to him for advice and we listen to him intently. And we even get down on the street on the floor with him and really, you know, allow ourselves to be seduced by his thinking. That's innocent, but that's optional. Because when we know Bob's running the show, we notice we're holding back. We notice we're in self-consciousness a lot. We notice we're not showing up powerfully with our service. We notice we're having creative ideas, but we're not acting on them. All Bob's interference. And when we notice that's what's going on, that's all that's going on, we get beyond that critical voice in our head to instead experience a deeper confidence and a clear guidance. One of the things I loved, Dr. Mark, that you shared, and for what it's worth, sometimes I don't always finish my examples. I'm noticing that, but to finish my example, when I got a bit of space from Bob, thanks to this exploration, I began showing up fully in my business. I started going on camera. I never had gone on camera. I was so concerned with even my teeth. I was just so concerned with how I came across, how I looked, how it appeared, what people thought. I started showing up on camera. I started saying yes to video interviews. I began to experience presence in my sessions with people, deeper impact. And ultimately, the knock-on effect of all of that was a far more enjoyable experience of doing my business and being me, a gentler experience of being me. Because the silly beliefs in my head had quietened. The voice got gentler. Bob was kind of kicked out a bit. And Dr. Mark, just to come back to what I was going to say, that you shared a quote in our last round of our program, and you said that Sydney Banks had said, "We all have self-esteem, but for our silly beliefs."
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yes.
that still gives me goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can speak to that a little bit further, but I just wanted to share that experience of what's available beyond these habits of thought where we're caught in worrying about ourselves or worrying about what people are going to think, or even worrying about what other people are saying, you know, whether they're saying it or not. um
Yeah.
is there anything within that you might like to pick up on?
Grace, that was beautiful. That really speaks to the feeling available to all of us. You know, when I quoted that, that's what Sydney meant. He was talking to self-esteem because in those days in North America, people were trying to put self-esteem into school children, you know, good intentions. They wanted children to feel better. And he thought that was nonsense because everybody already had it. How are you going to put it into people? But he meant more than self-esteem. He meant love and understanding. He meant creativity. He meant happiness. Uh, he said, we're all that, you know, we're all that. That's what he was pointing to. That the deep feeling you're sharing from Grace about what awakened in you. We're all that right now, right now, right now together, uh, because we're thinking some, but we have happiness and well-being, contentment, love, and understanding, and the intelligence of the universe guiding us right now. Uh, and that's what he meant with that simple quote that just floored me. You know, it just floored me. It pointed me in a direction of waking up to how much I monitored myself and kept me away from the feelings I was looking for in life. All of us are. And you know what? They're right here. that's the paradox, you know. It's like he always said, you know, you don't have to go to the Himalayas to find yourself. That's our learned thinking. You know, we have to go somewhere, read something, and so forth in order to find our true nature. But we're already sitting in it, were it not for our silly beliefs. And that quote led me and Grace to talk to one another, and then led to our course, you know, our programs, because it's just a beautiful thing to wake up uh, these wonderful feelings that take Bob the drunk out of our heads, you know. I call them gremlins. You know, the movie Gremlins, they've rented space in our head, and waking up to the beauty that we are, happiness, contentment, not thinking we lack anything, you know. these gremlins start to uh, get. I'm trying to think of a nice way of saying invited to leave, kicked out. So so that was beautiful what you were sharing, Grace, and that's all I wanted to add to what we're sharing with people today.
Yeah. Well, now might be a good time, perhaps, if we could make this relatable also for your situation. You know, is there a question? Is there a comment? Is anyone up against something that they'd like to just get beyond Bob's thinking or the gremlins thinking around? And you know, we appreciate if if you come on, if you ask. It's always lovely to be together like this. Oh, Anita, wonderful, good to see you.
Hi, good to see you too, Grace. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Hi, Anita.
Hi, Mark. Just as you were saying, is there something you're up against? There really is. And Bob is absolutely running, rampaging through me at the moment. And so I thought, what a good opportunity just to bring it and see what you've both got to say. Um, I had it's a couple of days ago, an upset, really a minor upset with a friend where um, I was trying to be helpful and she just sort of pushed me away. And it has just produced this massive reaction in me um, of sort of fear and horrible sort of physical symptoms. And I know I can do some really sensible stuff in my head, but none of this is remotely interested in the sensible stuff, that it's not a complete catastrophe and so on. So I just, yeah, I would really appreciate any help you can give me.
Mhm. Would you like to start, Mark?
Well, Anita, you are already there a bit because you recognize it's just Bob in your head. That's already, really, that's already a shift.
Mm.
But the understanding that's always helped me in being with friends or family who kind of react to me, like you described your friend, is a story that came out yesterday in the teleseminar that I had where I talked about this blunt statement, and one of the participants shared a story of how she was really close to a colleague. They were both teachers in middle school, and all of a sudden, my this person on the teleseminar got ill and was out for months, and then came back. And this person she was close to, this colleague, this teacher, was talking badly about her, was refusing to talk to her, was complaining about her. This person she was close to, had really connected with, took care of her children at times. And all of a sudden she's reacting this way. And after summer break, this participant shared, you know what, I need to go talk with her and get this right because we're going to be teaching together for the next year. She went to talk to her, sat with her, and said, "Why were I just want to understand what happened? Why were you complaining to me? Why were you complaining to the principal? Why were you so angry toward me, hurtful?" All of a sudden, this teacher friend started crying on her shoulder, and she said, "I'm so sorry. At that time, I was going through a tough divorce. I was really, being abused by my my husband, and it was really a trying time, and I took it out on you. I thought you were the only person that I could take it out on that could handle it. I'm so sorry." Uh, and the two of them got close again. This friend of yours is going through the same thing. Maybe not a divorce,
Mhm.
but when people react to us in these ways, you have to see that their mind is troubled, and their thinking is taking them away from love and understanding, taking them away from respect, taking them away from listening, taking them away from consideration. That's all that's going on. And when you get down to it, and if people got clear about that, they would say, "I didn't mean to. I just got caught up in these terrible feelings." So I just want to share that with you because it was a powerful story about
Mhm.
how to understand people when they really treat us in what we would look at as a hurtful way, or a rude way, or a dismissive way, or even an angry way.
Mhm.
Um, no one does that. No one does that to a friend or a family member if they're in love and understanding.
Mhm.
No one. Uh, but when you're in a very painful state of mind, uh, those behaviors seem to emerge from our friends and family.
Mhm.
So mm, that's what I had to share, Anita, and hoped it was helpful. And Grace, that's what I think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Anita, could I just speak to what I think I heard? I just want to ask. Did you say you were bothered by, you were feeling very, did I hear in some format that you were feeling really triggered by this or caught up about this?
Yeah, very much so.
And were you like physically? Is that what you're saying? Like, how might can you name that or describe it?
Mhm.
Or,
It's a feeling of very a very tight tension going down the middle of me.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the most helpful things I have learned through this understanding is that feeling is letting you know about your state of mind, not about your friend, not about what's happened. I had no idea how much that was going to impact me going forward. To get such a strong feeling and realize that it meant nothing about the situation or the person. May I give you an example of that to just bring it in, ground it a bit? When my partner died suddenly, I used to get this feeling of tension and tightness and absolute anxiety in the center of my body, like the solar plexus area. And I had forgotten what I'd learned, but I thought that meant something awful about the way he died. So I would keep getting, every time I lived in the memory of his death, I would get that real tight, constricted, awful feeling and attribute that feeling to some meaning, something about his death.
Mhm.
I forgot, Anita, innocently, like we all do. I forgot that feeling was not telling me anything about his death. It was telling me that I was just in my thinking in a way that wasn't helpful.
Mm.
Wow, did I get relief, Anita?
Mhm.
Now, I just wanted to share that bit with you because what you brought forward is so helpful to the whole group. Is that when we forget that our feelings don't mean what we think they mean.
Mm.
We have such freedom to wake up from that. Then people can be in bad states of mind. Then people can even die. And we're at ease physically when we really see that our feeling is relating back to our thinking. It's not, it's our friend. It's our friend every single time. How are you feeling about that, sweetheart?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's landing.
Let it land. Let it land.
My system isn't wholly convinced yet, but
Okay.
it makes complete sense. It's difficult, isn't it, when you're not really conscious of what your mind is doing, because it just feels like a physical, emotional reaction that doesn't have a lot of words to it, or
Yeah.
it's harder then to identify, isn't it? Oh gosh, that's Bob saying this, that, and the other. But I do hear what you're saying, and I shall sit with that.
Yeah.
That's great. Just let it percolate.
Yeah.
Grace, I just loved what you shared. It was worth showing up with you to just hear that. What a beautiful way that you shared that truth. So it's worth every penny I paid to be here today. I'm joking because I can't help joke, but I don't want to take away from the impact of how you shared the nature of us, the true nature of us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anybody else have a question or anything you'd like to share from our webinar so far, or just love to hear from you? Even, you have a question, it'd be great to explore that with you.
I know that one of our participants, I don't think she was able to join live, Mark, but I know that she was curious to join because she's in a new relationship and her former relationship fell apart due to the partner's drug use.
Oh.
And she's finding it difficult to be totally present in this relationship, even though it's quite lovely, because there are hints of drug use or alcohol use that just get her really scared in the moment, that bring back that memory of the past. Although she did say it's nothing like that, you know. Now I know you've worked with many in this area, and I wonder if it might be helpful for her to hear something from you, because it sounds to me like she's scaring herself. However, I'll leave it there. What is there something you could speak to there so that she could be in the presence of the relationship, the new one?
Well, it's like our theme, that if you're with someone and you have beautiful feelings for the person, you're just getting to know them, but you really enjoy being with them. The only thing that takes you away from that person is thinking about your past. You're no longer with that person. You're now living in your past, because the minute you engage a memory, which is thought, you're in it. So, first of all, you are scaring yourself. It is. You are playing that Friday the 13th movie. I don't know if all of you get that movie, but it's probably at part 500 in our minds. That happens when we try to compare our present moment with a memory that was not good for us. We're living in that memory. We're no longer living with the person in front of us. It also clouds our vision to really see the human person we're with, to really see this human being as they are, rather than how we think they are. So, so that's the first piece. The other piece is we're all given the power of thought to notice life in front of us, to observe. And we do have thought to know something may not be right here. There's something I'm a bit wondering about or concerned about. So you have a new relationship, you have loving feelings, you can have a heart-to-heart talk. You could share your wondering. You could talk about it, as long as you could really listen beyond your being worried. Try to hear the human being in front of you rather than your memories of the human being in your past. I did that with my boss, with the director of a psychiatry clinic in which I was running a program. And I started to see that she gets caught up in insecure thinking. And I saw, maybe I contributed to some of that. I need to go talk with her. And I shared in the talk, all I want to do is support you. I'm sorry about the way I've been treating you. And she said, to my surprise but deep feeling, was, I want to support you too. So there's something to see with this new person in your life, fresh, and finding a way to gently ask about it, you don't want to ask about it from the feeling of insecurity. You want to have goodwill in your heart to explore with this new person what you're noticing. It's kind of like, I don't know if you get these Seinfeld episodes, but it was just a great comedic series for 9 years on our television here in North America. And there was a time when they were eating, and this guy, Jerry, always got disturbed by how people were. And so this person would eat and would had peas on the plate and would put a fork in each pea and eat it. And he got so disturbed about it, he broke up with her. It would serve him to say, to inquire, how is it, what's that about for you? Where's that coming from? With true curiosity to find the humanness of this new person in your life rather than validate your fear. So both of those, huh? both of those. The more you could stay with this person rather than your memories, the more you're going to see of this new person, and that's going to touch your heart. But remember, you're also given the power of thought to notice something. And given your history, that makes sense that you would notice it, but you don't have to try to figure it all out yourself. Both of you are mind. Both of you are love and understanding. And if you go with goodwill, really to be curious, to discover the humanness of this person behind that behavior, you get close. So,
I love you.
Grace,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do you see there? Anything that you see there?
Well, very similar. I'm sure she'll listen, but the best place I could point her in the moment was just to notice how she's using her memory to scare herself,
Yeah,
you know? I don't I see Erna wrote in the chat, you know, that she saw that she was keeping grief alive with her thinking. And when she saw that, it stopped hurting so much. Like
yeah,
that's incredible. That's you know, when we see that we're using our memory to hurt ourselves, we have a choice to make a change. When we don't see that, we're just living in that hurt. And so what you've just shared, Mark, at least from what I'm hearing, is pointing in the direction of this person being able to, you know, be present in this new relationship without using her memory in a way that's going to hurt it. And at the same time, have guidance. I mean, that's what I could hear was coming through. Like this, she can have guidance coming to her, you know? And that's the beauty of getting beyond Bob here, friends, is that our guidance gets louder. You know, that part of us that knows, uh-oh, this, I need to nip this in the bud, or I want to address
yeah,
this. You know, that opens up and gets louder so that she knows she can have that guidance in the moment. Which is sometimes, at least I think, is sometimes hard to hear when you're in a lot of worry and a lot of memory, you know, and yet it's always there. It's always there. So thank you. Grant, yes. Grant,
Hi,
come
Grace.
on.
I quite often just jump into calls, but I know you used to be a teacher, so I thought I'll raise my hand.
oh,
Particularly on
good.
the other calls, everybody raises their hand. So I've done the polite thing, but your psychic powers must be tuned in, because I was going to ask you about, you know who Bob is and you know what Bob sounds like, but in terms of intuition, how it comes to you, does that come as a voice? And the reason why I say it is that, having sort of seen things like Conversations with God, Abraham Hicks, all of these things, it's like, well, that's something that was channeled to somebody else, until I read Erin Worley's book. I thought, well, why not me? And then it started. So I hear things as my voice, but it's not the type of thing that I would say as a normal blah, 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 blah. It really is something richer coming in. So I was wondering if you could talk to that.
Wow, yeah, that's a lovely
Yeah,
question. Yeah. Well, Grant, what I hear there, or what I would speak to there, is that's available to all of us.
Agreed.
That wisdom, that voice of greater clarity, because we've gotten beyond Bob for once. You know, you even described it that way. You know, instead of the usual ba ba ba, you hear something that's, it's almost like, where did that come from? You know, like, who said that? But that, you know, that's your guidance, that's your wisdom. And I think we're all able to hear that the more free we are from the babbling thought system, as Dickon Bettinger would call it, the gremlins, as Mark describes it. And so it's less of a psychic power than a very natural, ordinary emergence from within, as we're not lost in lots of habits of thought all the time.
Just to clarify, exactly what you said is what I'm referring to. The psychic bit was just the fact that I was going to ask the question. You started to move from Bob to this conversation. That was what I meant. You know, it's just like, wow, that's amazing. I was about to ask the question. You've already moved there. But no, I see it as a very natural thing. It's almost like so natural. The only exception I've seen is that speaking to my father, he doesn't hear the voice. My mum does. And she knows the negative one, the chatter. We all know that one, I think. But that purer one, and sometimes if I sit with it, it can say some very amazing things. I can literally have almost a dialogue. You know, is that me? Is that me? Yes, it's me. But it's a side of me that's much further out there than just a normal thing. And I don't really talk about it much, but you are probably the kind of group where you can. So I'm just curious as to whether it's a voice for everybody, or where you see people where maybe it's more of a feeling. It might be both, or another way of actually getting that guidance.
Well, yes. I think we all have different ways that we access that guidance. And for some people, it may be more auditory. You know, I have clients that they find their wisdom through writing things out. And as they're writing, their wisdom starts coming forth, you know? So, you know, there's different ways, but we don't want to get caught up in the form, Grant. We want to just be grateful that we're hearing or seeing or knowing or feeling truth beyond all the noise we've been habituated to. And that is a gift. That is a beautiful thing that it's mind. It's divine mind. It's who we are. It's what we're connected to. And so if you're hearing that more and more, amazing. Enjoy it. Leverage it.
100% agreed. And the other thing that I'm very aware of, and I would also agree with, is that I don't think that's how everybody will experience it. And it is very individual. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Lovely question. Thank you. Dr. Mark, looks like Jimmy has his hand up.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, everybody. Boy, it's been so helpful. I just want to say, I keep, in my own experience, but especially listening today, I keep hearing thinking, feeling, thinking, feeling, thinking, feeling. And it's like my experience, dealing with my own gang of Bobs is that, and just being this guy sitting here, is that I'm kind of like in one mode or the other. I'm either in feeling the life within me and feeling the presence of my own existence, or I'm in thinking. I'm in this story about something, and if I notice that my feeling starts to get my attention when I'm caught up in a story, I start experiencing some discomfort that gets when, it's loud enough or intense enough for me to notice that something's going on. Even that feeling, if I just let some of my attention sit with it, the story starts to subside. And the next thing you know, the feeling changes from discomfort to ease. And I realized, I'm just worrying about this. It's just like, I've got the money to pay for that. It's like, and all of a sudden I'm back. And the other thing, I had a problem with a neighbor, and I was, I knew I had to say something, and I was distraught. And something just came over me, and I was just standing there in my house getting ready to exit. And I just got this, like, just stay in your body and then go out there. And I could trust myself. I mean, that's what I find. If I just somehow stay in a feeling of any kind, you know, I can trust myself more to come from wisdom, you know, to see that, you know, it's not like I'm being kind or understanding or anything. It's that that's just what arises. And I don't know. It's just, it seems to me that, you know, at this point in my life, I say, I'm better off just just letting the story be, and just come back to just being in an experience of feeling my own existence, you know, and that I can feel a warmness and niceness in my heart even then.
Thank you, Jimmy. Wow.
Well, Jimmy, I think what resonated for me, and I'm not sure if it speaks to what you were sharing, but thank you for sharing that. But you see, we can only be at what Sid talks about, levels of consciousness. We can only be at the level of consciousness we're in. There's, you know, or the state of mind we're in, or the quality of thinking that has showed up that we've engaged. But the intelligence of mind that this energy we're a part of, that provides intuition, will occur. It will show up. It will, it's not anything we can have a strategy for, but it will occur to us, just like that occurred to you with your neighbor. Hey, just stay in your body. I can't tell you the number of times it showed up and said, hey, why don't you apologize? Hey, why don't you listen better? But it will occur to you. It will be given to you, because it is something that we are beyond our intellect, beyond Mark Howard. I can't think my way there. I just have to live knowing that it will show up and guide me to, you know, a more understanding place at which to live. So that's the beauty of it, that it comes out of the blue at times. But, you know, whatever level of consciousness we're in through the day, and it changes throughout the day, we, you know, we can't make that happen or keep it. We can just understand it. We could just understand, oh man, I'm in the basement elevator right now with my state of mind. Be graceful, be gentle, have the courage to just see it was a change in my level of consciousness. All of that will occur to you. What you've seen and realized will come back and right the ship.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jimmy. I always love your sharing.
Thanks.
Very insightful. Yeah. So friends, at this point, we'll begin to come to a close. And if this has resonated with you, if you're feeling like you'd like to go deeper with myself and Dr. Mark, we are going to host a 4-week exploration starting on the 6th of February. And we will meet weekly for the month, 75 minutes or so per session. And, you know, really it's this exploration just taken on another level. If you know in your heart, you know, There's a lovely feeling. You could do with more of that feeling in your world, in your work, in your life. And if you know there's a kind of Bob is getting in the way, or the gremlins are getting in the way a lot in areas, then this exploration is really going to support you. As I shared in my own journey, it has really supported me professionally, but it's also helped others that have joined us in relation to their love life, their life in general, their relationships at work, their friendships. You know, it's not just in one area. So the link is here if you can see it. I'm just going to post the link. And there is an option now for an early bird offer, which I believe is
Embarqué dans la dernière voiture pour via de IC-trein naar Jensleuters via Aalst van 17 uur.
I'm not sure if you're able to see the link, friends. Are you? In the group chat? You are. Okay.
Yes, I am.
You are.
Yeah.
So there's an early bird pricing right now that's available at £97. And if you did need a payment plan, there's always also a payment plan option of 2 payments. So we really invite you to consider taking part and going deeper, especially if you're resonating with what's been shared. Dr. Mark, anything you'd like to say?
Well, I just love being here with all of you. Man, we covered so much together, and you could hear the gem of wisdom. You know, there's always more to see at a deeper level. That what Sid told us. We all have self-esteem were it not for our silly beliefs. We all are in happiness right now, were it not for our silly beliefs. We all have the wisdom of the universe available right now, were it not for our silly beliefs. And my goodness, you know, there's always more to see, and I invite you, as one way to do that is to join Grace and I. It's been wonderful to be with all of you and the feeling of being with you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on February 6th. Some of you I know have already joined, and yeah, we'll take it further then. Lots of love, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.